Welcome. We are up and ready to fire this one off. I'm Lynn Hamilton, your lead instructor here at Samson Properties. I want to welcome you to this series, or this session in the Samson Success Series. Say that a couple times real fast. This episode or session is about creating that wow. What are the things that you're able to do in your business to create that wow with your clients? Working with kids is one of them, so that you are upping your odds of getting referrals and repeat business around the bend. We know that 80 to 85% of clients say that they would use their agent again if they ever heard from them. We're going to break that. So with our Samson agents, we're going to have you the best in the industry and going strong. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. As always, there it goes. There will be a handout for you in the Cardinal Nest if you are watching online today. So hello to my Fredericksburg and Richmond friends. Go ahead and just kind of take notes as you go along, and we'll make sure that the handout is available to you around the bend. So as always, we want to thank Cardinal Title for sponsoring my classes. Again, if you have not had an opportunity to use them yet, please do so. Tell them I sent you, and they'll take good care of you. So we want to thank Cardinal for that. So as some suggestions as we get started. First off, the front page of your handouts of all of my classes, from Jumpstart to any of the specialty ones, are designed to have a checklist in there. It is set up so that you can use it as a got that done, got that done, got that done, and it allows you to see where you're at. And also, if you're going to be meeting with any of us, whether it be any of your mentors, your managers, even myself, I know where you've left off. Or where you're at, so we can help fill in the blanks. So I'm going to encourage you to get a 3-ring binder, 3-hole punch your handouts, and put them in there. Hopefully you've got sessions 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Jumpstart, and then these are all the supplemental classes that go and support that as well. So again, so that when you meet with your management team or even myself, we know where you're at, and our time together can be much more effective and efficient. We have page numbered the handouts, and at the bottom of the PowerPoint is also a page number. So if by chance you get distracted or have to step out, you can come back in and connect right in. So, and there they are at the bottom. All right, so here's some quick classroom rules. First off, always, if you would please, for courtesy for each other and for not getting distracted, which we all easily do, if you go ahead and turn your phones off for a little bit for me so we can get through this. I want you to be open to some new ideas, because you may not have heard these before, and that's okay, but just be open to some new ideas as well. I always like to ask, may I have your permission to be blunt and honest with you? Tell you what you need to know and not always what you want to hear. We okay with that? Give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Excellent. Whew. All right. Hear my heart, forgive my mouth. Because usually if I know it's going to slip out, I'll usually give you a heads up and remind you that you gave me permission, and you also said it was okay to hear my heart. So usually if something's coming. But this is a fun class, so not so much in today's. All right. You do have to laugh at my stupid jokes. Okay, that was one of them you're supposed to laugh. Okay, now I hear it. Okay, good. And hopefully I want you to learn something new. At the end of class, I'm going to ask you, what is your aha? What is your takeaway? What was the one thing that you went, now that's a good idea that I can run with? And then more important than ever before, I want you to implement it. This information, Donnie's information, Sarah, David, anybody that does any training whatsoever, the information is no good until you decide to put it into action. Because we know this stuff works. Does it work? Yes, it works. Does it work every time? No, nothing works every time. But if you do it consistently, it will pay off as well. So I loved Donnie at the end of sales meeting. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch the sales meeting today. He talked about you can't convince someone to sell their property or to buy a property because you need a paycheck. So it's all about developing that rapport with them so that when, you've heard this come from my mouth before, when the home no longer meets their needs, you want to be top of mind so that they will turn to you versus somebody else. And our whole goal and my whole niche and specialty is giving you creative, fun stuff to do, creative stuff that will keep you top of mind so that when that time comes, you are their go-to choice, okay? So that's what all this is geared toward, is to do that. So with that, let's go ahead and jump on. I always like to have some words of wisdom for you. And so the one that goes with this session today is make sure that everyone who works with you or for you feels the need to tell others about the incredible experience you provided. Now, being from San Diego, we were big Disney fans, and Walt Disney was his whole mission was to create an environment that would be fun and exciting and engaging, that A, you'd want to come back, and B, you'd want to tell others. That's not a bad mission statement as well, or goal for you to have, is create an experience that they're going to want to return or tell others about you as well. Now, I always giggle when I hear agents say, well, you know, I'm going to do a good job for you. Duh. Okay, hear my heart, forgive my mouth on that one. Well, duh. They expect you to do a good job. That's a no-brainer. What are you doing to create that wow? So, you with me? You ready to jump in? All righty. So, let's get into today's session of creating that wow and working with kids. No, kids don't buy, but kids are part of the buy process. All right, so there we go. We're catching up. We're not catching up. Let me go back. Why is that doing that? All right, so here's some tips on working with kids. And if you refer to page 2 of your handout, or if you're just jotting down notes, I will make sure that you don't miss anything. Is that as slow as I think it is? That is funny. Okay, so what I always did if there were kids involved, obviously, in the family, I would always tell the parents that one of the things I needed to do was I needed to have a meeting with the kids, usually around the dining room table or in the living room, but we were, kind of circled around together. Parents could listen in, but parents couldn't participate, which the kids thought was funnier and all get out. So set up a meeting with the kids. So what is the purpose of the meeting with the kids? First off, you want to find out, or you want to let them know that you are going to be needing their help, that this move is a family project, and you are going to hire them to be your assistant. Now, if they're in that specific age group, they're going to think that's way too cool. So, because now they work for me, and they thought that was pretty special. So, again, you're engaging them and involving them in the transaction. So, you also want to find out what their favorite color is, and if they have sports or an activity that they like. So, what you're going to do with that, I'll show you in a second. I have a picture of it. They'll come back to it. You also want to have a conversation with them, and this is where the parents drop a jaw. I always instructed the kids what to do if somebody came to the door and knocked on it and wanted to come in to see the house. The answer to that is no, as in N-O. They never let anybody into the house. Now, parents are sitting there going, I never thought of that. But since the kids are working for you now, you got this thing going. So you let them know if that's ever to happen, absolutely not. If the child is old enough to know how to use a phone, I make sure they have my business card as well. I make sure there's one up on the refrigerator for them as well. Now, there was one time I had a client that was the older teenage boy, very responsible, and 2 littler ones. I made sure they know that nobody knocked on the door and wanted to come into the house. There were a couple of times that we were doing showings and the mother had approved for them to come in during a time that the kids would be there because it was only like an hour that the older teenage boy was overseeing until mom got in from work. In that scenario, with the mother's permission, he knew what the rules were. And I made sure that any agent that was coming to see that house in that time slot knew that the kids would be there, knew that they would step outside, but here were the rules. No exceptions. That agent was to have a name badge on. That agent was to hand the child at the door the business card. That agent was to unlock the lockbox. That way we had a trail of who was in. Because I could take your business card, and if there's no pictures on there, I could say this is me. Didn't work. So agent had to have name badge on, preferably a business card with their picture on it, and they had to open the lockbox to get the key out. Now, they didn't need to unlock it because Billy was there, but as soon as they came in, he would take the other two outside and, let them preview the home, and then when the agent was done, then the lockbox was closed up. Now, he also knew when that happened, he knew ahead of time, because I was in communication with him and the mom. When they got there, he called me and said, agent so-and-so is here. Is this the one that's authorized to come in? And I would say yes. I told him anytime that he wanted to stay on the phone with me during the time of that showing, I'd be there, because I knew I had that time blocked off. He never felt uncomfortable with anybody coming in, but again, they would show up. This is my name badge, here is my card, Lynn knows I'm coming in, and they would go to the lockbox, and then he would let them in, okay? So again, the parent who was, not able to leave work, and the kids were there for that short time, always felt comfortable that I had the kids' safety and had the kids' back. And they knew that if I had not notified them of a showing and the agent didn't come with a name badge and a card, I'm sorry, they weren't coming in. I don't care if you had clients with you or not. You were told ahead of time what we needed to do for the safety of the children. And I never had any pushback from it, which is nice. And again, I always got, hey, they're here. Okay, they're done. They've just left. Perfect. And then I would check, later the lockbox to verify. So again, be conscious of the kids, because they don't know. Somebody would come and knock on the door and say, hey, I see your house. I see the sign out front. I'd like to see the house. The kids go, yeah, sure, come on in. Yeah, you don't want that happening. So be aware of that. The other thing that I used to do in my kids' meeting was I would tell them that I was going to be giving mom and dad a bunch of homework. Now, the kids loved that, because usually they're the ones getting homework, and they had deadlines on getting it done. I said, but now I get to give mom and dad homework, and they have to have it done by the deadlines. So here's what I need you guys to do. When mom and dad get out that stack of paper, and they got to go through it, you go off and go watch a program, go do something else, but give them time to read through that paperwork, because it's important, okay? And they give me the thumbs up. But I would also tell them that if mom and dad or the parents or the grandparents, whoever it is, start making funny faces, or their eyes start rolling back in their head, or they're just like, and I start making funny faces with the kids, it's okay for them to call me and let me know that mom and dad are in a meltdown. Kids thought it was a hoot. And so they would have mom and dad working on the paperwork. They'd be watching quietly from the side, because they're waiting for mom and dad to make a funny face. Now, sometimes they would do it just so the kids could see it, and then the kids would call me. Mom's making a funny face. Good, she reading her paperwork? Yeah, perfect. Okay, let her finish off. She'll be fine in a few minutes. I'll check on her in 20 minutes. And we'd giggle and laugh and hang up. But it engaged the family in a fun and funny way. So they knew when mom and dad had paperwork to do, let them do their homework. If not, I was coming after them. They'd have to go to the principal's office, and I'd be the principal. And the kids thought that was a hoot, all right? So I would also assign them tasks. So depending on the house, the yard, the whatever, I would assign, because they're working for me now, remember? I would assign them a fun task that they got to be responsible for. And they would get paid. Now, during conversation, and I found out what color they liked and what their favorite sport or activity was. I'd also find out if their favorite, if they liked, Dairy Queen or, one of the yogurt places or one of the smoothie places. I'd find out what was their preference. So once they would do A, B, and C, or have things picked up or whatever it was, then I would pay them every 2 weeks with a little gift card to thank them for doing a good job for me. Now the parents are usually in the background doing the little happy dance because they're thinking, can you get them to do like clean up their room, do their homework? It's like, yeah, we got this. Because obviously the kids don't understand that everything needs to be picked up. And all they're seeing is, the parent going, pick up your toys. We just, you just made a mess and we just cleaned up. We got somebody coming in to show. So the kids don't understand all that. So engage them into what you're doing and assign them some tasks with a paycheck to go along with it. They'll love it. All right. So here is a bonus tip on working with kids. And it's not in the handout, so you may want to jot this one down. When I worked with a family with a little one, Richard was, I'm going to say between 4 and 5. And he would always ask his parents, are we going to go see Miss Lynn this weekend? In other words, are we going to go preview homes? And so he became my buddy. And so I hired him, which he thought was way too cool. So I even went as far as I made him a little name badge that said, real estate expert in training, and I had his name on it. Because we all have those little plastic badges around somewhere. You can make one and create one, or a sticker, or a label, whatever you want to do. So he always knew that he got his little label. Now, I got him a little clipboard, and when we would go and look at certain homes, I would give him assignments. He came with me, because Mom and Dad can go see the house. I mean, they can look around. We were kind of always together-ish anyway. His job was to go into a room and then count how many outlets were in that room. I would jot it down on my paper. I taught him how to look to see if when a door opens back, if there's that little rubber knobble thing or the thing on the wall to protect the door handle from going through the wall. He learned to check for those. I taught him about the ground fault switch interrupter, or whatever the outlet's called, that's supposed to be, within 3 feet of a water source for protection, usually in bathrooms and kitchens. I actually took a tape measure, cut it off just about 3 feet, and taught him how to measure from the sink faucet to the nearest outlet. So he would come in, he would have it around his neck, he would take it off, he'd measure, Miss Lynn, this one's good. Excellent, and I'm writing down, We'd go to the kitchen, do the same thing, go to the bathrooms, do the same thing. So engaging him as well. Now, yes, after a while, we started to have some fun, and especially if the house was vacant, I'd put him in a closet. He knew I was right there because I'd kind of leave my fingers in the door, so he knew I was there. And I'd go, hey, Richard and Heather, oh my gosh, you got to come see this room, and you got to see this closet. It's amazing. And so they knew that something was up, especially after the first time. And they would open the closet door, and he would jump out and scare them. So again, that was a hoot. But he knew that was part of the fun. And that's why I used to ask, do we get to see Miss Lynn this weekend? But it's okay, because they're going to be there anyway. And what are they going to be doing? Squirreling around. But if you let them know that they've got a role to play and they need to help you, they're on it. They are on it, on it, on it. So have some fun with it as well, but they can become your best sources. All right, so we talked about finding out what the kids' favorite color was and what sport or activity they were into. Now, all these things I'm going to show as bonus stuff is all available at your local Walmart or whatever store you prefer to shop at. I would say go get yourself a pack of the pastel colors, papers. It's in the stationery or the school supply area. And I also got a pack of the neon colored ones. So if I found out that Susan liked light blue and loved playing basketball, I'm going to take this, put it in the printer, and print out Susan's room with a basketball on it. Now, I may print out 4 or 5 copies of this, and when I come back, they're going to get it. The reason for that is because one of the things the kids are going to start acting up over is, well, all this stuff is going to go into boxes. How is teddy bear or my book or blankie or whatever, how will I know which box they're in? You are going to create for them their own special box. Mom and dad love it. I will usually tell them that is their box, and oftentimes I've gone and bought the box. They're less than $1 at Walmart. Tape this on the box on 2 sides, that way whichever direction the box is you can see, or I'd put it on all 4 sides. But the child knew that that was their special box. And whatever they wanted to go with them from the point of move to the point of unpack, that was theirs. You are going to eliminate tantrums, meltdowns, and panic attacks, because now the child knows their stuff is not going to get lost in the move. Okay? Good idea? Good idea. All right. The other thing that I found to be valuable, again, available at your favorite store, is good old duct tape. Now, when I started doing this, every time I went to the store, I'd pick up 2 or 3 more, just in different colors and patterns and whatever. So if I found out that the child's favorite color was red, the boxes that came out of their room on packing day would all have a little bit of red wrapped around the corner of the box or across the top to seal it. So parents love this one as well. So the child knew that any box that's coming off the moving vans with their color on it went to their room, and they knew it was theirs. Because again, all they're seeing is stuff starting to get packed up and panicking. How is their stuff going to get from point A to point B? And with all those boxes, how will they know where they're at? So duct tape becomes your best friend as well. All right. Good idea, huh? All right. So I would occasionally do one that said, the child's name, favorite things. And that was the last, or the last stuff they'd pack up, and that box would go with them in the car. So they knew it wasn't getting lost in the shuffle. Obviously, a pair of PJs, a lot of times I just tell mom, go buy them, get a new pair of PJs. A book, if they're at an age where they like bedtime stories, let's get them a book. So they know they've got it in their little box. If they have a favorite stuffed animal, get it in there. Obviously, their toothbrush, hairbrush, and night lights. The child is going into a new house. And again, a lot of kids have panic attacks too. They're not familiar with the layout yet. They may be afraid of the dark or this new environment. I would always include a night light with their special box, so they could either put it in their bedroom or the hallway or the bathroom, just so they had a little bit of light to help them guide around. They loved it. And sometimes I even went as far as, I got the PJs, I got the book, I got the new stuffed animal, and put it in the box with them. And I would help them do it, because they knew, okay, that's their comfort zone. If their pillow is their favorite, pillow went in the box too. They had a favorite stuffed animal, that went in there too. It will eliminate a lot of panic, stress, and meltdown to not only the kids, but to the parents as well. And the parents are sitting there going, oh my God, they're loving it. They're loving it. Less than $5, $10 maybe. But you talk about a wow factor that's going to stay with that parent, that you took the TLC with their child to make sure the child was not in meltdown over the move. There you have it. Okay. Woo! So far, so good? Give me a thumbs up. Yes. All right. So let's get ready to jump into the next little segment of wowing those clients, wowing those kids. Now, if you've got kids that especially have grown up in the neighborhood and they're moving, especially if they're moving away, they may be in panic and meltdown too, that they're losing their friends. Now, some kids they're just excited over making new friends. Other kids are like, but I've known him since I was a baby, and they don't know what to do. So I can't tell you how many times I've done kids going away parties, and it may be a week or 2 weeks before the move. I would offer a pizza party for their 10 best friends in their neighborhood that they know. Now, if the parent comes and tells me there's 12, not a problem. So I'd get pizza, the little bottles of Gatorade or water, napkins. You don't need to do cups and ice. So you have a little going away party for the kids. Inexpensive, fun, wow factor. And usually it gives mom and dad a break for a few minutes because the kid's involved with their friends and eating pizza. Here's another one you can do, and it's shown on page, I didn't put the page number on that one. It's on page 3 of your handout. You can even, now granted, everybody's got cell phones now. Most of the kids, once they hit a certain age of probably 10 or more, they've got a cell phone. But go ahead and add the little photo album. And I would make sure that every child was there who's usually coming with a parent, has their child's name, phone number if it's okay, an email if the child has it, believe it or not, some of them do, and the address. And believe it or not, I take a picture of the kids together, I'd put it in the photo album with that child's contact information. And I would come back and give it to the youngster before they moved, so they've got a picture and they have the contact information as well. It's that wow. It is that takes a few minutes, inexpensive, but it creates that wow. Now, if they've got a cell phone, you know what? You take their cell phone and you start doing pictures of them together with their buddies. That way they've got it on their phone to take with them as well. All right, so again, easy, fun, lighthearted. So here's some other ideas for working, especially with little ones. And I have, and we'll figure out how to get it up into the nest. I actually created, and again, these are just clip art downloads that are free, by the way, it's okay. A little front back, and it's got a house that they get to color. Another one, there's a little find your boxes so they can, do that. It's just a little fun thing to keep them busy for 30 minutes. And on the back of this, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but it says, these are a few of my favorite things. Here's a list of what goes into my special moving box. And then I would usually work with them to make sure that anything that was important to them was written down so they can use it to check off to make sure they've got everything in their special box they need to go with them. And then, of course, my contact information or my card information at the bottom. All right, so again, easy breezy. Once you are in that process, the other thing that kids will melt down over is Santa going to be able to find them. So this is nothing more than a Christmas tree ornament. It's got Santa on it. They pop out every couple of years. You can find them here, there, and everywhere. You can probably go onto Google and get them as well, or Amazon. There are also some that come with a little poem. So when you've got kids that are still in that age bracket and they're moving, especially as it's getting closer to the holiday time, they're going to go into meltdown, and when you find out what the meltdown is over, well, how is Santa going to know where I'm at? You now have a special Santa key. And sometimes even at Dollar Tree or Big Lots, you can find these cute little boxes, and I always would try to find them with Santa on it. And I'd put the key in the box with a little note, and then we'd leave it for them to find. Or we'd leave it with the elf on a shelf where they now have their Santa key that they can leave on the porch. And I was just talking to a friend of mine in California, and many years ago, 10 years ago or more, her daughter got the Santa key because they were panicking over how is Santa going to find them. And she still has it. Now, she doesn't believe in Santa anymore, but she kept this. It costs a few dollars. I mean, yes, you can go $15, $20 because I know Hallmark has some special ones as well. But to create that wow and that memorable for the kids and the family, don't underestimate that one. So another thing you can do is you can do just a quick going away party for the kids, which would be bubbles, glow sticks, obviously sparklers, depending on what state you're in, if sparklers are illegal to get. But those are just fun things, just for the chance for the kids to say goodbye and have some fun with it. All right, so let's take a look at when you're talking to the kids and you find out, what they're interested in, to do their little box paper. I would also ask them if they liked Dairy Queen, if they were a teenager, if it was Bath and Body Works, or, what are the things that they liked? Because that way I could use that as bribery and leverage if I needed to with the child. Now, there was one I had, early teen girl. Mom and Dad had gone through a divorce. She was not happy over it. She was rebelling every step of the way. She was not being cooperative to keep things cleaned up, and Dad was getting frustrated with her. He's calling me, I don't know what to do. She's fighting me every way. And then I would find out when she knew there was somebody coming in to see the house, she'd leave her bathroom a total wreck. There were things that she was intentionally and deliberately leaving out that should not have been left out. You fill in the blanks. So she was kind of doing it as rebellion. So I finally had a chat with her, and I said, look, I know that this isn't, what you're hoping is going to happen, but here's what we'll do. If you can do this and this for me, then I will calculate up every time you do it. I will add money on your paycheck, and I will get you a Bath and Body Works gift card as your paycheck at the end. Well, game on, let's go. So that was all it took, was to acknowledge that, I get it, you're not happy over this, but we need to work together on this. And as it turned out okay after all. So find out what they like, find out what they want, and, obviously with the parents okay as well, go ahead and utilize it that way. All right, so there's some tips on dealing with the little ones and the teenage kids. So you ready to move on to some other stuff? Yes, I'm seeing thumbs up. All right. So this is something that I would often do with the parents, and I know that I used to have it was a U-Haul storage unit place, and I know that sometimes Lowe's or Home Depot now, you can get them on Amazon as well. It is a pack of the different colored tape that has kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, yada, 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 yada on it. And a lot of times, it was about 20 bucks. Probably has gone up a little bit, but still not bad. I would get them one set or a partial set and a couple of rolls of different colored duct tape. And part of my wow factor to them is how to pack with effective and efficient. Because when you get to the other end and you're unloading, you are going to be exhausted already. And so making it worse is not probably the best thing to do. So with that, they knew that each room had a color code. If you got them the ones with the writing on it, they would know that they would still need a couple of these. So each room then, whether it be an office or whatever, had a different color code tape put on it. Once, and again, they don't need to seal the bottom of the box and the top of the box with it necessarily, but at least some on there. And again, we would just usually run across the top just so it can be seen from all which directions. The movers will love you till the cows come home if you do that. Because that way, with painter's tape, they can yes, did you hear that? Okay, that was fun, huh? The movers will love it because on the bedroom door, you can actually put a piece of paper with red on it. Any box that had red tape on it went into that room. It will make unloading so much easier because there's nothing worse. And we moved across country 8 years ago. Good thing I knew this tip. It made life so much easier. They knew exactly what room it had to go in. And then I caught my movers taking out the boxes off the back of the moving van, and they were lining them up by color code. That way they could be effective and efficient, haul 6 or 7 boxes in at one time, and put them in the right room. They loved it. They thanked me profusely. And they said, best tip ever. Can we use it as well with our people that are moving? I said, absolutely. So there is a good one to make it that wow factor on the back side. All righty. What do we got next? Oh, this was one of my fun ones. When you're working with a buyer, I call it my house hunting survival bag. It starts with just a little gift bag. You can get them at Dollar Tree. You can get them at any of their stores. Dollar Tree is the cheapest. You can get 1 or 2 or 3 depending, in a pack for $1.25 now. So then I would create a sticker or a label. Labels will become your best friend. I would create a label and it just quickly said house hunting survival bag. Boom. Put it together and that's what it looks like. Now, whenever I did my buyer and seller consultations, which, spoiler alert, that's coming up real soon, next month, depending on when you're watching this, we're going to include in there the concierge form. And it's how you get to know and ask those questions. They just fill it out real quick, or you can have conversation with them and fill it out. So I knew that one of my clients that we were going out and seeing homes during the summer, one liked water, one liked a particular kind of iced tea. She liked a particular, cookie cracker thing. His was M&Ms. So whenever I was going to go meet them, I made sure that I had their house hunting survival bag, and in there was M&Ms, the tea that he liked, the water that she liked, and the little cookie crackers that she needed. I would drop in a couple of mints, a couple of individually wrapped, or even a pack of gum in there. Because when you're going out for a period of time, the last thing you ever want to have happen is their blood sugar to go bzoom. Because once it starts dipping, you've lost them. Their brain has gone on overload, and they're not even functioning. So my clients always got their little house hunting survival bag for the day. Also in there, I would get one of my vendors to supply me with highlighters and their ink pen. And guess what? You have Samson pins, you have First Heritage pins. I would include those in there as well. That is what went in there, because those are things that I wanted to make sure that they had at the ready as we went through and previewed homes. All right, brilliant little idea. Going to cost you a few dollars, less than $5, and you're golden. All right, you will be surprised too when you start working with a client and you do that. And then, because they're going to start talking with their friends, because they're finding out who else is. And they have this little house hunting survival bag, and their friends or their family sees it at their house, or they're telling their friends about it, or they'll actually take their picture with it and post it on Facebook. And it comes out, well, what is that? My agent didn't give me one of those. Well, Lynn did. That's where that wow comes in. That's where the repeat referral business has just laid the groundwork for it to happen, okay? Another thing that I always had, usually either in my car or especially at the office, if somebody was coming in to meet me, and oftentimes they're coming in when? After work. They have not had a chance necessarily to have dinner yet. Again, you don't want that blood sugar taking a crash, and so I always had just a little basket. I had gone to probably Walmart or Target, bought the boxes were 10 or 12 of the individually wrapped little packets of cookies or the crackers or the whatever, granola bars, or, there's just 100 million options, the little bags of chips. And I would have them in a cute little basket, and I would have it out. So when they came in, if they needed a quick snack boom, they had it. The beauty of that is they didn't go bad. So you could use them, for months and just keep restocking it as your clients were coming in and out. They loved it. It probably cost, I'm going to say at the high end, $20 to buy all this stuff, but it lasted for months. The wow. You were concerned enough about their kind of well-being. And again, if I knew that, a particular candy bar was their favorite, guess what? I made sure that I had it in there for them as well if they were coming in. So again, the little things can create those wows. All right. Oftentimes, too, I'd have a little mini one in the trunk of my car just in case we were out and about and it was taking longer and then they needed to have to recharge their battery. We were good. All right. So this technique here, or this tip here, is what every agent should have in the trunk of their car. Now, you can put it in a little tote. You can go to the dollar store and buy some of the cute little baskets. You can have one with a lid on it. I don't care. It can be in a bag. I don't care. Have it in the trunk of your car. And what those things are, obviously, is hand sanitizer. Even before everyone was so aware of germs and the transmission of germs, having some hand sanitizer was always a good thing. Because I can't tell you how many times we opened a lockbox, and I swear to God I was going to get something that was going to be deadly. So some of those lockboxes are grody, and so it's always good to have hand sanitizer available. Gloves. Plastic inexpensive gloves. Sometimes you go into a house that was like, do I really want to touch that doorknob? Okay, so just having gloves is not a bad thing as well. Shoe covers, not a bad idea to have. Again, you can get those here, there, and everywhere. A roll of toilet paper, and then paper towel. So those would be just the starters. I'd also have a flashlight or something in there. You probably should have one in your car anyway. But those are the primary things. Yes, you can, there's a whole additional things you can add in there as well. But know that you do need to have an emergency kit. Now here's another bonus. Ladies, I know we often wear heels. If you can throw in a grubby pair of tennis shoes in the trunk of your car, just to have for those properties that you've got to go to after it's been raining, and you don't want to slosh your good heels through the mud, have a pair of shoes that you can slip on. This is a story from San Diego. But it still applies here as well. San Diego doesn't get nearly as much rain as you guys do here. So whenever I had a client that was looking at a property or had just written an offer on a property, I wanted to go see that property with them in the pouring rain. I had umbrellas, I had my slushy shoes or rain boots. Because they'd go, but it's raining. I go, yeah, I want to see where the water is running off at. I want to see how the water is running away from the house, or is it puddling, next to the foundation. So oftentimes it's raining, we're heading out. And again, here you can get a rainstorm that'll pop up anywhere. So be prepared for shoes and umbrellas. You do want to see a property, either if it's lightning, don't go out and see homes in lightning. But if it's just raining or there has recently been rain, yeah, you want to see if and where the house drainage and the lot drainage runs to. So don't forget that one. All right, and just by being prepared, your client's like, wow, the wow factor. Well, I'm going to do a good job for you. Well, duh, that's what they expect. They want the wow. The wow is what they will remember, unfortunately. Okay, so far so good. Got some wow factors going on. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the additional wow factors. I did this regardless of whether I was on the buyer side or the seller side. I always left I'm going to say a care package behind. I always made sure that if there was toilet paper left in the bathrooms, and even just some paper towel or the disinfectant wipes. So in a little basket or mini laundry basket, again, those are available at the Dollar Tree. You don't have to spend a lot of money for them. But create a little welcome home or housewarming package. And what would go in there is I always left, at least 6 bottles of water in the refrigerator. Because again, if it's hot, they're coming in, the first thing they want is something to drink. And there's nothing worse than not having anything. It's just that, and I'd make a little card, and it says, welcome home. Stick it in the refrigerator with the water. Now, they thought it was, it was a cute idea. They liked it. I was amazed at how many actually made the effort to come back and said, oh my God, I opened the refrigerator and there was cold water for us. Thank you so much. But in the basket, you're going to have a roll of paper towel, 1 little container of the hand soap, because again, it's in a box somewhere. It hasn't even come off the truck yet. Toilet paper, a room freshener, the wipes, the disinfectant wipes, and then anything else you can think of that needs to go in there. Now, I need to go back and add this in. There is the coolest little thing. It is a long plastic thing. You can get them at the dollar store. You can get them at Walmart and any of your places too. It's got a little loop on the top, so you put your finger in it and you stick it down into the drain, and just kind of wiggle it and then you pull it back up. It is gross, but it is so cool to do. If your drains are running slow, it's from our hair that's shedding, toothpaste, shaving cream going down the sink. So I've got one now in every bathroom. And about once a month, we go in, we stick those down the drain, pull it back up again, and you are amazed at what comes back up. Now, especially if you got the buyer, we don't know how the drains have been cleaned or cleared out from the past. So I would add that and include one of those in there as well. So usually when I'd find them, I'd pick up like 5 at a time. So I had 5 baskets at the ready to go anytime I needed it, whether I was on the buyer side or the seller side. So if I'm on the seller side, we've got everything out, I double check it and then we're good to go, settlement has been completed. I would make sure that their little welcome home basket was left on the counter for them. You can also, at the dollar store, you can get some really pretty, congratulations on your new home cards. I would leave one in there. Did their agent do it? No, typically they didn't, but I did. Since 80% of the agents are going to drop the ball and not stay in touch with that client, did my $10 basket, say, left behind for them with a card and even one of my newsletters with, fun stuff in it, when they never heard from their agent again and several years later rolled around and their home no longer met their needs, or they needed to move for a job or move for other family reasons, recession-proof marketing, by the way, check that one out, class, I was more top of mind often than their even agent was. So sometimes I'd get a call out of the blue and they'd go, now I know that you may not remember me, but I was the one that bought the house at 123 Cardinal Way and you were the listing agent and we now need to sell. Could we talk to you? I'm thinking, yeah, because obviously they've not stayed in touch with their past agent. So you betcha I'm going to come in and talk to them. Again, a few dollars created that wow factor and was all good. Okay. Talked about the welcome home card or the congratulations. Another thing that I used to do, and again, you can get them here, there, and everywhere, really inexpensive, is a cute little key or key ring. I would take all the additional keys, the extra keys, the gate key, the whatever keys that were going to be left at the house for them, and would put it on a cute key ring. I would often put a bow on it and leave it on the counter for them as well. Now, sometimes you'll hand it over to them at settlement, which is fine. Have fun with it. Do that extra little pop. It doesn't take but 2 seconds to think about it. When I would find these, I would buy these up, so I'd have 5 or 10 at the ready at all times. I used to have some that said, welcome home on it. Others were the cute little keys. Just have them, don't knock my drink over. Just have them at the ready. When you find them, pick up 2 or 3 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them, depending on what your production is, and that way you've got them at the ready to grab and go. Okay, so there you have it. Another one that can be done, address labels. Remember I said labels are going to become your best friend? Okay, available at Walmart. This is the $81.95 or $51.95. There's, it's basically a return address label. Easy to do. Actually, one of my little mini instruction videos is going to be showing you guys how to do those print labels if you don't know already. There's also other companies that'll do them as part of a follow-up package, but I would do at least 1 sheet, which is 30 labels. Yes, people still have stuff they need to mail in. Yes, I get it. A lot of stuff is done online now, but they still have stuff every once in a while that needs to be mailed back in, so at least they've got 1 sheet. And they're like, wow, thank you. Okay? You really want to be clever when you set it up. In the middle or one of the labels can be a thank you gift from and your name, Samson Properties, and I would put your website on it, not necessarily your phone or your email, but the website, because more than likely if they're like impressed, they may go to your website just to kind of check it out. Okay, so don't overlook a simple return mailing address for them. Again, buyer side, seller side, I don't care. I don't know. I do it for both. And oftentimes I would leave this if I was on the selling side. I would leave that little welcome basket, and I'd leave a sheet. One sheet is all you need. Done, and in the basket with them. Wow factor versus nothing at all. Okay, hopefully this shows that your possibilities are endless. Absolutely endless. Be creative, think outside the box. Let's go into the last batch of goodies. Ready? Thumbs up? All right, great. So let's say you had the client, obviously they're getting settled in their new place, and you would offer this ahead of time so they would know. I wouldn't do it on moving day necessarily, this one, but come meet your new neighbors. You can do orange juice and muffins in the driveway. You don't have to do, a full spread. It can be something as simple as muffins and orange juice in the driveway to the neighbors to stop over and say, hey, just walk over and say hi to your new neighbor. You're only there with them for 30 to maybe an hour. So when you send the invitations out to the neighborhood, you're letting it know it's like a 30, 45 minute, hour time block, because these people are needing to unpack. You can do it as a going away. You can do it as a welcome to your new neighbors. So you can do it on either side. Again, not a lot of money, not a lot of effort, but that wow factor. Pizza on move-in day. Yes, we had a couple of local pizzerias. In fact, one that we used to use a lot was owned by a real estate agent, so he always gave us a really good discount on them. But we would have pizza delivered to the homeowner on move-in day. And I would always let them know ahead of time, so what time are you guys moving in? All right, because I'll have pizza delivered. And they'd be like, wow, that was the reaction I wanted. That wow, oh my God, thank you so much. They haven't even thought about that. And if nothing else, the kids eat it. But don't overlook that little on move-in day. You can do the juice, donuts, muffins, or bagels in the driveway. Another agent that I know, I'm going to ask her if I can have her permission to use her name, so I didn't yet. So she would do about once a year, because she wanted to get to know her neighbors in her neighborhood. She was over 55 area. She would do hot dogs in the driveway. And she would just put the hot dogs in a crock pot with water so they were steamed. She'd have the little hot dog bags with the bun already in it, the little individual bags of chips, and then either the little water or the little Gatorades or the little sodas, whatever, in just a big thing of ice. Let the neighbors come over, stop in, say hi, have a hot dog, have chips. Not a big, massive spread, but she said she could usually do it for way less than $50. Usually it was $25 to $35. She'd get them and then just get to know the neighbors. And did she end up listing some of their homes? Yes, in case you were wondering, she did. So think outside the box. It's not that costly to do. Now, obviously, you adjust it to the price, the price point that you're in as well. I knew an agent that was in a higher price point area, and they did I think it was Thursday they did it from, again, a 30-minute time block. It was wine tasting. And the neighbors came over, and they'd have two choices of wine. They got the little tiny, little glasses, the cute ones you can get at Party City or whatever. And then they voted which one they liked better. Put the ticket in the container or in the bowl or the bag, enjoy their wine, chit chat, off they'd go. The next week, the winner would then be paired up with another wine. Same thing. Which one do you like better, A or B? Vote, and then the winner of that one would go up against another one the following week. She did it in a series of 4. She got to know most of the neighbors, because once they started talking about it, it was like, oh, I missed it, I'm going to come by. There you have it. She got to know over 50 of her neighbors over the course of the month of doing it. And then, of course, the last one was the winners. Now, another fun thing that you can do, if your area has trick-or-treaters, you got a gold mine sitting right there. So what I used to do, and I still do it, because the neighborhood that we're in now, because there's sidewalks and lights, we will get anywhere from 600 to 900 trick-or-treaters in a 3-hour time block. Crazy? Yes, but oh my God, so fun. You know, we put the lights out and I've got my little, my pumpkins out and all the cutesy stuff. That's just my style. I don't like the scary stuff for the kids. So I got my cutesy stuff out. My dogs have their little, coats on depending on weather. And we just sit on the front porches, on the steps, because you don't have time to close the door because they're coming through nonstop. But what I did was in a Ziploc bag, I'll add this, I'll do a mini session on this and add this in for you guys to follow up with. In a sandwich size Ziploc bag, I would buy apple cider in the little pouch. I would get the little spider rings and I would put either a postcard in there I would create, and it says, after a long night of trick-or-treating, kick back and enjoy some witch's brew. So the witch's brew was the apple cider. You can put a little peppermint stick in there if you want, your little spider ring on, your information on the one side of the card, and on the back side, I would put, when you're, it shouldn't be scary to buy or sell a home. Please visit my web, I have a spider web on there, website for information or for free reports or, some tips. Nailed that. I would hand those out to the parents because now I can get my daughter and my granddaughter to do the trick-or-treaters, which they love to do, but I would get the parents and hand them out. Brilliant. Brilliant or brilliant? Brilliant. Brilliant or brilliant? Brilliant, yes. So don't overlook Halloween either. A few bucks. You can crank, 50 or 100 of them out or several hundred of them out, in an hour watching a program. So think outside the box, be creative. It is fun. Bam, there you have it. All right, so other ideas that you can do with kids, again, take your top 10. Get them pumpkins, especially if it's in a neighborhood that you're farming as well. You can actually do a pumpkin carving contest where you deliver the pumpkin and the instructions. The kids have to have it done by, you pick a date. They have to leave it on their front porch, and you and the mystery team will come back and vote on the best carved pumpkin. You can do it that way. You can have them bring it to tables in your driveway where everybody gets to vote on the best carved pumpkin. Again, if you're farming, especially your own neighborhood, yeah, you can have some fun with that one. All right, sidewalk chalk. You can get that inexpensive anywhere. You can do a sidewalk chalk coloring contest where you give them the chalk. They have like a 1 hour or whatever time frame you want to set to decorate their driveway with the chalk or the walkway, whatever. And then you and your mystery team is going to come back and vote on which ones are the best. Now, once they do them, they want to go see everybody else's as well. So again, you're generating some neighborhood good fun, and let's face it, it rains often enough that it washes it right away at the next round. But usually it'll stay up for a couple of days. Be creative. It's okay. It's the wow. It's the fun. And especially if we all have that creative side to us, this is a hoot to do. All right, back to school supplies and pencils. Now, one year, this was long ago, I was working, before I came into real estate, I was working for the school district, and the kids that were coming around for Halloween trick-or-treating, of course, I recognized a lot of them even in costume. So they'd get their candy, and I had this whole batch of pencils. They're the fun, colory, sparkly ones, whatever. And I would tell them that that was a magic pencil, and that if they used it for their homework, they would probably get a better grade because it's magic. So they would take this pencil. Oh man, I found out later, they made sure they had it out of their bag. So about 4 weeks later, I was at the school, was talking to one of the teacher's aides, and she says, we were talking about Halloween and the holidays and everything. She says, oh my God, I've got to tell you. The kids, some of the kids came in, they had been out trick-or-treating, and this lady gave them a magic pencil and told them that if they did their homework with it and then used it for their tests, it was magic and they would probably do better and maybe even get better grades. She says, I had a little guy that was going to take a test. He went into panic because he had to have his magic pencil that this lady had given him. I started giggling. And she looked at me and she goes, oh my God, it was you. I went, it was. So it worked. He did his homework with it, his spelling test and his math. He tested, he got a better grade. So I don't know about you, but I'll buy pencils for kids any day of the week. But that was the fun of it. He thought that pencil was magic. So I'm good with that. So again, you know, if you've got a bus stop in your area, put together a little goodie bag of pencils, a couple, maybe a candy, or, you know, have a great school year. Take it to the bus stop because the parents are going to be there a lot of times too. So obviously you ask the parents, is it okay? And you can get them either going to school or coming back from school. Check with the parents, all right? So, but again, have fun. And if you even want to, let's say you're going, I don't have kids, and you want to sponsor school supplies for a classroom, OMG, they will love you for life. Because if you know anything about teachers, they put a lot of money out of their own pocket for school supplies throughout the year. You can do it. I'd buy them now, and then I would arrange to deliver them and sponsor a class come December, because that's when kids have moved, new kids coming in, sometimes kids that are, you know, transit, they don't have their supplies. Buy them now, get in touch with the teacher and say, hey, I'd like to sponsor your class for school supplies. I can do this, 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 and this, and this, or what is it you need? I've got a budget of X amount. It could be $50. Again, it's creating that wow, creating that, you know, that talk around the school, around the office, that you are sponsoring that class, all right? Then you show up in your dazzly Samson property t-shirt or shirt with your name badge on, and you deliver them. Not bad, is it? Okay, all right, so let's take a look at what else we have. Another thing that's, again, it's referenced here in your handout, there is a red plate. I know that Hallmark used to carry them. It's just basically, it's for, especially if you've got a family unit, and the parent would decide which child is going to get the dinner on the red plate. That red plate, or whatever you want to have, it could be grandma's china for all I care. That plate is used when a child in the house did something amazing. It could have been great sportsmanship. It could have been did their chores or got their homework done without having to be reminded. It could have been, you know, picking up after the dog or taking the dog, anything that they want to acknowledge as a you did above and beyond, thank you. You've got the special plate that that child gets to use for whatever meal is coming up. Welcome doormats. I cannot tell you how many times I've bought welcome mats. And again, they're here, there, and everywhere. They're not a big expense out of your pocket. If the house that my client was buying did not have a doormat on it, yeah, I'd go buy one. And we would, you know, put it down when they got their keys. Now, if I'm listing the property, I always make sure there was a fresh, clean doormat down. All right? So again, not a bad thing. The other fun thing that I used to do in the bottom of page 6 of your handouts, and as you get to it, is put a fresh coat of paint on the door. Now, if you're listing it, I can't tell you how many times I've painted front doors. I figure if I've painted my face and painted my fingernails for years, painting a door is not that big of a deal. Now, yes, I know you got HOAs, you have to stay within a certain color palette sometimes, I get it. But you can still put a fresh coat of paint on, complementing what's already on there, or, you know, changing the color if they're not in an HOA where they have to stay within a certain color palette, just to give that fresh pop. Now, I started doing this, and all we had to do was buy the little cans of paint, because it doesn't take that much. I then started creating a little box that had different color paints. And so they got to choose whatever color they wanted. And sometimes we'd even get creative and mix one or two. And then they'd have a customized color fresh coat of paint on the front door. I actually had this nozzle that was a great like power, that's the technical term by the way, and I would make sure that we would hose off, you know, any cobwebs, put a new mat down after I painted, paint the front door. Okay, just that little pop of wow. And if you're doing a family, get them, whoever's in the household, get them involved in doing a little TLC. You could have one of the kids pulling the weeds, if there's, you know, weeds in the flower bed, because you want to make it look pretty. Get them involved, have the fun, create the wow. Now, I will tell you my newest toy. I borrowed a power washer from a friend of mine, fell in love with it, then I went and bought one. The inexpensive one from Home Depot, Lowe's, they're less than $100. That thing's addictive. You start going, and you've seen all the dirt that comes off, and you're just like, well, okay, that's done, now I gotta do this section. Well, that's done, now I gotta do this section. And so even during the heat, I would do a section or two at a time in the evening, and looks totally different. So now I would even have a power washer in my stash and offer to loan it. I'm not gonna be doing everybody's. I would loan it, if need be, to a client to use. Plug it in, hook up the water, turn it on, and it will blast. You don't want to use it on windows. You don't want to use it on the house necessarily, but definitely on the front porch or the steps or the sidewalk. Absolutely. All right, so again, freshen up the front. How I used to explain that to clients is, okay, have you ever, and I'll ask them, I said, have you ever gone to the mall? Well, duh, everybody has. I'll go, okay, so you know they spend a lot of money having their front windows in the mall created, decorated, merchandise or whatever. Why? Because you're walking by, they want something that's gonna catch your eye, draw you in, and make a purchase. Same thing applies. When a house is on the market, you want to have it that wow, that pretty, so a drive-by is going to catch their eye. Have you ever driven by a house that you thought was going to be a good match for your client, and you pulled up and went, really? All that didn't show up in the picture. So you want to kind of create that pop, just like at the store, or the mall when they go, the store windows. It gives them a point of reference, and they go, oh yeah, okay, now I know where we're going, okay? Here is a great one. What would you do, display board? Now, this is a great time to pick them up because they have them, you know, all over the place. Well, they have them all year round, but it can be a cork board, it can be a foam board, it can be the three-tiered, you know, the little ones, open it up, you've got, you know, for the kids use for projects. You can use any platform you want to mount it or to put it on. This works extremely well when you have a house that maybe needs a little TLC. Now, granted, we have Curbio now that we can partner with them and they can come in and do some of the stuff, but just in case it doesn't work, and that's not an option for that homeowner, but you're going, this doesn't show the best, it needs some TLC, you can go and create a display board that you can set up in the kitchen. It can be in the bathrooms. I would say grab yourself a magazine or two and find some pictures of a really nice bathroom or kitchen that is appropriate for your price point in your area. You can go to any store that's got paint and grab yourself a couple of paint swatches. You can also pick up, these came from Lowe's. I got them from a friend of mine who was looking at samples for redoing her floor, and they're like $1 or something. And she brought them home to see how they looked, and then she says, I don't need these, can you use these? And I said, yes. So I've got them, I got a couple of extras. So on your display board of the what would you do? I'd have maybe 1 or 2 of these mounted. Yes, they're heavy, so they'll need to be glued or secured. I may have 1 or 2 swatches of carpet. Again, you can buy those at any of the stores for $1 or $2. I'd have either some paint samples and swatches fanned out, or you can even get these little booklets. I got the one with chocolate on it, to have them in there as well, to say, If this was your home, what color would you pick? Or what would you do? What it does is it takes their mind away from what's there that could be unappealing to what it could be. These work wonders, especially if you've got a house that needs some TLC, or you've got a paint color that's just not good. You could put some neutral browns, tans, creams, whites in there. The grays, rumor has it the grays are starting to fade out. I don't know, a lot of people still like them. But again, have a couple samples up. Say, what would you do if you were to buy this house, because you're looking at the structure, what color would you trade it out to? Once they start looking at going, okay, so I would do this color this way, or if they walk into a house and you go, okay, I hate that color, great, yeah, I'm not sure I could live with it either. What color would you paint it? Now they're getting past the negative and they're starting to customizing and see what it could be versus what it currently is. Okay? Make sense? All right. So gather these up. Next time you go to the store, have a few. So if you do need to do a board, you're ready to go. Used it before. It works beautifully. There's the wow. All right. Here's the last couple I want to share. One of the things that you can do, either on the buyer side or the seller side, get yourself a 3-ring binder with the plastic protector sheets in it. And yes, it's all available online. We used to ask our homeowners if they were selling, if they came across any of the instruction manuals for any of the appliances, to pull them and let them make sure we had them, because we wouldn't want to leave them for the buyer. A lot of times they don't even have them anymore. I would go in, I would get the make and model of that particular appliance. I would go in, download, print, staple it, stick it in the plastic, and at least they have it right there. Now, if they want to throw it away 30 days later, I'm okay with it. The wow. How long did it take me to do that? Less than 30 minutes. And I'd have one for the, and again, unless the homeowner had it, the washer, the dryer, the hot water heater, any of the major appliances, refrigerator, freezer, microwave, et cetera, and just have it in the book and have it your maintenance information on your appliances. Now, you can actually go now and buy online a really pretty binder that's got, it's got a pretty label on the front or embedded into it. You can customize with your name on there if you want. And it's got the pouches where, again, if the homeowner is leaving, you can add it in there. If you're going to download them and print them out, you can add them in there. Or if they're buying new appliances, they can take the old one out, put the new one in, and at least they've got it all in one spot. Especially if it's branded, that's even better. Okay? So, brilliant idea. The other one is put a label on the hot water heater. I know some of you are going, wow, that's really kind of a cool idea. Especially if you know that there is a home warranty and it's going to be covering the hot water heater if there's a problem. You just make a quick label, a big one, put the label on it with the home warranty company, what information you have, the 800 number to call, and a policy number if you've got it. And now sometimes I've come back after the close, did it, and gave it to them and they could stick it on. Because when that hot water heater is starting to hizzle and you got water coming out the back, that is not the time that they need to try to figure out where in the heck the paperwork's at and where they put the binder with the information in it. So it's right there. They can screenshot it. They've got it in their phone. They can call right there. They've got the information they need. That creates the wow at the time of the emergency, and you're the hero for making sure that was there for them. Okay? So there's the other one. Again, takes a couple minutes, a few pennies, and you got it. All right. So here's the ultimate goal here. You know that we talk about my puzzle pieces, that all of these sessions are putting the pieces of the puzzle together for you. You hear me often say, be the Uncola. Think outside the box. Do something that's a little bit different that other agents hear my heart, forgive my mouth, are often too lazy to do, but you are smart enough to do. So it's okay to be creative. It's okay to think outside the box, but also be the uncola. What are you able to do for your clients that probably another agent isn't going to do? None of these things are going to break the bank. I don't care if you're a brand new agent, this is your first transaction, you're going, okay, I need to do a couple of these things. None of them are high end enough that you're financially going to get, gulped on. Let your creative side go. Keep this as a reference. Think about what things you would want to do that would be memorable, that you like that concept. Go purchase a couple of things. Purchase those little baskets. Purchase the cleaning supplies that need to go in them. Get that little drain cleaner snake thing. Be the uncola. Provide those wow factors that will have you stand out from the crowd that is different from what everybody else is doing. Okay? So with that, I want to come back and I want to get your aha takeaway moment. So I'm going to give you 1 second to think about that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching live as well. Again, a shout out to some of my crews that are here, there, and everywhere. Always thank you to the team that's behind me making this all happen. Our videographer back here, his job is to hopefully make me look good. And he does a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that you guys have the information that you need at the ready that's able to be retrieved in the future. We will be re-recording this and putting it up in the Cardinal Nest under Samson University for you. It'll be broken down into segments, but thank you to everyone who participates. And again, you've heard me say this before, I don't care what you know. I don't care what you know. I want to know, what are you doing with what you know? Because this and any of the information is no good until you put it into action. So with that, as we wrap down, thank you for being with us online. We're going to tap into some of our members that are here. What was your aha? What was your takeaway? What can you see yourself implementing? You want to run the mic for me? And we'll make sure that those that are online can hear it as well. Aha takeaway.
One of the aha takeaways I liked was to come meet your new neighbor, because you can also put a spin on it as door knocking. That I'm the realtor that found a home buyer, your new neighbor. I'd like for you to come over and introduce yourself and welcome them to the neighborhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect. Aha takeaway.
One of my takeaways, my aha, was to include the kids.
Yes.
I do have clients that have kids, and it literally drives me nuts when the kids are running about while they're looking at the house.
Exactly.
But incorporating them in helps it, because I do it with my grandson, and I've never thought to do it with a client's kid. But my grandson would go with me sometimes, and he dresses better than me when we go. He wears suits.
Oh, nice.
He started at 4. He's 8 now.
Wow.
And so he goes with me, and he'll go through the house, and if we do an open house and somebody comes in, he says, oh my gosh, you've got to see the basement. It's the best part of the house.
Oh, I love it.
And he takes them down. So I never thought about including the kids. So now I'm going to include the buyers or the sellers' kids as well.
Excellent. Yeah. I loved being able to do that. And again, it changed the whole dynamics, because again, they're going to go back and they're going to start telling their friends or family, or the little guy's or the little gal's gonna start telling them, what they got to do, and that they've got a new job and they work for me now, and it just snowballs. But absolutely, again, the wow factor, outside the box thinking, creating that wow from the parent. Now you've stood out. And what did it cost? A little TLC. So excellent. But yeah, I love my little guys that used to be able to, measure and do and count, and we knew how many, outlets were in each room. So excellent, excellent. Aha takeaway.
Yeah, getting the community involved, doing something to bring people out to come and actually meet you, mm-hmm. and as well as doing something for them. You're doing something for them, they're going to remember that.
Absolutely.
And, that makes things better. And then also getting the family involved. Yeah. That was a pretty good idea with the kids, because the kids can be, if you impress them, they're going to push the parents.
Yeah.
And encourage the parents
Yeah.
to do it. And then once the parents seeing that you're including them in it, that's another
Yeah,
kudo for you as well. So
absolutely. Good,
that's
good.
a good one.
Excellent. Well, you guys have definitely taken some great aha takeaways away. Shoot me an email if you've got an aha takeaway that you want to share with me. You can reach me at lhamilton@samsonproperties.net. Shoot me an email and tell me what was your aha, what was your takeaway. I love hearing them. I know we're wrapping down on time here, so we're going to end it here. Thank you for being with us, and I love those aha takeaways. And when the kids can come back into the living room and go, "Excuse me, Mom, I just fixed that pillow," you know you got the kids on your side. Anyway, thank you. Have fun. I will see you in the next class. So until then, go out, be wonderful, be awesome, and think outside the box. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And